Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Please comment, like, and subscribe, and press that hype button if you have anything left. Welcome to the weekend, guys. It's Friday. I found something really interesting in on the GRB Snark pages, and it was just a lot. I decided to do it this way because I think it would be easier for me to read to you and actually show what I found. So let me go ahead and share my screen. And this is this is something that Gypsy, we think it's Gypsy. It sounds like Gypsy has written in the comments to on Bailey Sarian's page. So I'm going to read it to you because it's really long. It says at Bailey Sarian, I really hope you put the part of Gypsy back in and stand on what you believe. You had it right. I understand wanting to question things because of the massive amount of harassing comments. But it does a disservice to Gypsy and her story to not share it. Oh my God. These people have theorized and speculated over her for nearly 2 years now. Well, I don't think that the FOIAs that came right from the courts and right from Gypsy's own mouth is theorizing. I don't know. What do you think? Where was I? For nearly 2 years now, proving absolutely nothing in the process, but they are relentless bullies. Does that not sound like Gypsy? If there's anything you need to provide further clarification about Gypsy's case, I can send you anything you want. The nation's leading expert in Munchausen by proxy have deemed Gypsy a survivor of MBP, and no mainstream media will ever invalidate her abuse like TikTok and YouTube has. I hope that you can find the information you need to provide clarity because of her story deserves to be told right, like it has been told for the last decade. Okay, we're gonna go to the next page. See, guys, does this not sound like Gypsy? Okay, hold on, That was until her release when she gained a 9 million plus. You notice she's not saying 9.3 million anymore. A 9 million plus following, and people were envious of the attention she was receiving. She never asked for that following or that platform. Yes, she did. Read the FOIAs. Yes, she did. We can prove it in the FOIAs. The people wanted to follow her and gave her that platform. The anti Gypsy conspiracy theorists have not only invalidated her abuse for the last almost 2 years, but they have also harassed multiple businesses, some even having to close because the harassment became so bad and only because Gypsy went there. Well, no, we told them the truth. We told them the truth about Gypsy, but yet they're not going to say about Gypsy calling her and her minions calling and having people fired from their jobs. Yeah, they're not going to mention that in here, are they? I have a list of over 20 businesses and establishments that were harassed. Some say her baby isn't real. Some say her baby died and it was all an act orchestrated by Lifetime. The body shame, they body shame her. They called her parole officer every single day, multiple times a day. They had called CPS on her. Someone literally violated her child's HIPAA. They have called CPS on her. See, guys, this has got to be Gypsy. It has to be. It sounds, or Bree Bro, whatever you want to call her. Someone literally violated her child's HIPAA rights and abused their power, gaining access and doxing her baby's medical records. And I still don't know about that, guys, because I never seen anything. It could be so, but I never seen anything, and I've seen just about everything out there. So I just don't believe that. People have rode past her house on live streams, taking pictures of her in her prenatal care doctor's office. Have you guys seen that? I've seen one picture, but you couldn't tell it was at a prenatal. What is she talking about? Hmm. I could go on and on about the abuse she receives from people on the internet. It's appalling to say the least. Gypsy groom Gypsy, groomed and conditioned as a child, was a victim to her mother's abuse. Control is abuse. She was nearly 24 years old at the time of her arrest, and at the end of the day, there's absolutely no reason why her mother should have still been controlling her life at almost 24 years old. Well, couldn't she have gotten up and just walked out? She was an adult. She could have just left. Oh my God. She was nearly 24 years old at the time of her arrest, and at the end of the day, there is absolutely no reason why her mother should have still been controlling her life at almost 24 years old. She shouldn't have been able to leave when she turned 18, which she had tried to leave multiple times, but her facility but fear facilitates control, and her mother fully controlled everything about her life. Fear is a muzzle, and it took Gypsy years. And years to piece together her life and understand how much of her mother had lied to her. See, there we go again with this little antic that she doesn't remember everything. See, she's playing this brainwash thing. She's been doing that now for the last week or so. Mm-mm-mm. Dee Dee lied to Gypsy the same way she lied to doctors, families, friends, neighbors, etc. She had to grow up questioning why her mother wouldn't let her be normal and tried to best to understand the unthinkable. Because how could a mother inflict so much harm mentally, emotionally, physically upon their child? I understand Gypsy is a controversial topic, but controversial topic. That is what Gypsy uses. Every time she talks about herself, that's what she says. And she's hiding behind her little her sock accounts. Where was I? Okay. But the state of Missouri considered all the facts in her case. And what about the state of Missouri? It was an election year. And Becca proved yesterday that Nick was just railroaded. In every which way, he was railroaded. Hold on, where was I? Considered all the facts in her case and believed justice was giving her time in prison, but also considering the mitigating circumstances being the over 2 decades of abuse she endured and given her a second chance at life. Why don't Nick get that second chance of life is what I would like to know. She wouldn't have never been paroled had she not utilized her time in prison to become a better person. But she's the same person she was when she went in. We can already tell. She does the exact same thing she did back then as she does right now. She would have never been. Okay, hold on. People that don't understand trauma, abuse, and what PTSD does to the brain have chosen to make PTSD, hold on, has chosen to make a mockery out of her extremely real, extremely tragic story. No, baby, I know exactly what PTSD is. Guys, and I've shared with you, a few years ago, I was held hostage for 8 hours. I was raped by 4 men. I know exactly what PTSD is. And what she's doing doesn't show any of it. She shaved her own head right now to wear a wig. Would that not be traumatizing? Going to have a surgery to get her nose fixed. Would that not be traumatizing? Saying she said it's traumatizing every time someone says, "You have my heart." But in her emails, she says that over and over and over to different men. Sorry, guys, went on a tangent. Think about a DV relationship where a woman covers up her bruises, drives to work, never tells anyone what is happening at home, then drives past their family's homes, the police station, a hospital, and then straight back home to their abuser. That is what abuse does. That is what control does. Abusers silence their victims through fear. All Gypsy wanted was to live her own life, not the one her mother dictated for her. She grew more and more desperate to live, which led her to make an irrational decision out of desperation. It's actually extremely sad and heartbreaking if you really emphasize and try to imagine just how conflicted she had to have been. She wasn't conflicted. If you read the text messages that she sent to Nick, no, because Nick tried to have her run away with him and she said no. The only way was for her mother to be deleted. That is what she said. Hold on, where I was. She grew more. Okay, hold on. It's actually extremely sad and heartbreaking if you really empathize and try to imagine just how conflicted she had to have been. Here, here was her mother, her best friend, denying her of any personal identity or free will whatsoever. She was groomed to be in the wheelchair. Her mother shaved her head. Didn't you just shave your head, Gypsy Rose Blanchard? Just saying. Didn't you say you just paid $2,000 for that nappy wig? I believe so. Bound her chest, only gave her a bottle to drink from. No, baby. No, baby. You said that you liked to drink out of bottles. You said you liked it because that was your comfort, Gypsy Rose Blanchard. You drank out of the bottles because you wanted to. Quit lying. No 24-year-old ever wanted to live like that. She was deprived of an education, not a, and I'm telling you guys, Audrey, if you go over there to TikTok, see Audrey, I've showed some of it. And why did Rod buy those books every year? She was deprived of an education, not allowed to have friends or any external relationships with anyone. Then how did you meet? How in the world did you meet Nick? How did you have Aaliyah as a friend? No, people's come out and they've set that right. You're a liar. Not allowed to drive, get her license, and not allowed to celebrate her 21st birthday and buy her first drink. Not allowed to have any romantic relationships. You're a liar because your mama knew about Nick. She did not want you to go and live and date a 50-year-old man. Oh my gosh. All things that there is no excuse her mother should have denied her of doing. People with all types of ailments still drive and get married and have children. I'm not saying Gypsy did. I'm saying there is no excuse for her mother to have had complete control over her life and deny her of normalcy, of autonomy, of love, of living, but especially because she didn't. If you have any questions, I can give you my email. This is something that I have watched play out since her release. Hold on. And it is extremely disheartening to see what social media has done to her and her life story. I could go on further, but I'd be here all day. It's even deeper than all of what I just said. At the end of the day, Gypsy has endured enough. What she did was absolutely something. I can't read it. My eyes are going close together. Inexcusable. And that is why she went to prison. She did her time. The case is closed. Even those that think she should have done more time, it doesn't matter. The state of Missouri didn't. People do not have to like her, but relentlessly bullying her and attacking her baby, her family, it's ridiculous. No, what's ridiculous, Gypsy, is you hiding behind these sock accounts. Why don't you be a real woman and come out and say what you got to say? I mean, that's the way I feel about it. Hold on, where was I? She has every right to speak on social media just like the rest of the world. She has every right to tell her story. Well, which story are you going to tell, Gypsy? The story's changed like 10 times. You keep telling a different story every time you tell the story. She has every right to tell the story and advocate whenever and however she sees fit. But remember, she doesn't want to advocate. The anti gypsy community is an echo chamber or lies and empty theories until y'all have an expert or professional to look back at your claims and actually, with actual proof, maybe stop harassing. Well, you know what? Hopefully Bailey will see that. And a lot of people that talked about her case, like the doctors, like the Munchausen people, they did not know that she had a chromosome deletion until recently. And that's a game changer. That is a game changer. Gypsy was a victim long before she became a perpetrator. Well, she did, shoot her mama. I mean, Gypsy was a victim long before she became a perpetrator. Dee Dee was a perpetrator long before she became a victim. Both sides of the coin are awful, but that is what makes it so important to educate and understand and tell her story correctly. Well, Gypsy, we've been waiting for how long for you to tell this correctly? Because you still hadn't. There's so many lies to your story. What is the reason why you even did that to your mom? You came up with like 3 or 4 different reasons why. That part of that story keeps changing and changing and changing. I really hope you find the information you need to speak on this accurately, like you originally had. Gypsy's not the only person to have been a victim of MVP. Yeah, and everybody else with MVP has always passed away. And it's funny that Gypsy is the only one that's actually deleted the person that did that to them. I don't think they really realize what MVP is. You have to make that person sick. Dee Dee never did that. And every single story matters, including hers. All right, guys. That to me, in my opinion, sounds just like Gypsy. It sounds just like her. And what is so funny is Gypsy has been in everybody's comments today. Well, yesterday, everybody's. It's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. But guys, do you think that she will ever come out and tell the truth? I don't think she will. She doesn't have the truth in her. She doesn't know how to tell the truth. But guys, tell me what you think down in the comments. I love each and every one of you, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.